Welcome back. All right, so a wrestling video for all you fine people on the internet. I don't have a whiteboard. I'm on the hockey set. The other set at this point in time not available. That's okay. There are times during the winter where this set isn't available, and I have to film in the other room anyways, because it gets really cold in here during the winter. But I wanted to talk about SummerSlam. It does look like the first night, which I was not able to watch, was better than the second night. They definitely, I felt, stacked together too many matches that didn't have rules. And the main event, which also didn't have rules, I felt like had more structure. When it goes spot to spot to spot, which I felt like the TLC match did, I don't know. Maybe my standard now with wrestling is just different than other people. But I thought everything outside of the main event was okay. It was there. I thought the women's triple threat match was very well done. It did turn out the way that I had figured. It's an old wrestling trope that was played out there. And then the show's capped off by, John Cena, complete face turn, going much better. I think for John Cena, for the wrestling style he has, and just for his whole gimmick, being a heel never worked. I was very glad The Rock didn't come out. I was very glad there was no Travis Scott, that there was no shenanigans, and then out comes Brock Lesnar. Now, reportedly, Brock Lesnar's return is because John Cena wanted to work with him. The one thing I have, and this is where it gets tricky for me, I have never been a Brock Lesnar fan. And this goes back to when he was first in WWE. The only time I rooted for Brock was when he was a face against Randy Orton for the title, and he pinned him. I think it was Orton that he pinned for his first title. And I thought that was pretty fun. And then he just kept destroying everybody. And I don't know. I just don't, like, I get it. I know a lot of people love Brock Lesnar and they see him as an all-time great. I'm not entertained by Brock's matches. I am not entertained by Brock. The only time I've been entertained by Brock is when he was using the Money in the Bank briefcase as like a boombox kind of thing. And he was dancing around in the ring. I was like, I want more of this Brock Lesnar, not just the throwing guys, bloodying guys, and then pinning them. And I understand that a lot of people like that. They like his just destroying everybody. But the one thing that, and I can't get this out of my head, is for years, for decades, WWE has pointed out WCW screwed up. They had Hulk Hogan against Roddy Piper. Well, we'd already seen that. Ric Flair in the ring all the time. All these guys were in their 40s and 50s. Meanwhile, WWE at that time, it was a younger generation, and that won the fans over, and they were much smarter. They were thinking ahead, because WCW was giving us matches that we'd already seen before. Brock Lesnar's 48. I believe John Cena's 50. It's weird, because WWE right now, they're not doing it to the same extent as WCW, but there's definitely an era of, we've seen this. And I understand that John Cena's in control of this because it's his last year. I totally understand that. But I am not watching a John Cena Brock Lesnar match. I'm not doing it. It's not happening. There are matches that I will gladly watch. That is not one of them. I have not seen an entertaining Brock Lesnar match in, I would say, 10 years since I've been entertained by one. And I understand that may be an unpopular opinion, but I get bored. And not only that, but I was a big fan of Kofi Kingston and seeing something different when it came to the title. And then Brock pinned him in 6 seconds. And it was like, all right, well, that flushed that away. And I think that's where my issue is that Brock is basically Superman. He is invulnerable. He is unstoppable. And I find that kind of boring. My favorite wrestlers throughout history have usually been the guys who aren't winning all the time. There's a reason one of my favorite groups was the Job Squad. I thought Al Snow was fantastic. I still think Al Snow is one of my all-time favorite wrestlers. And he never really won much of anything. But he was entertaining. He had a great gimmick. And he was funny as hell. I still remember him laying on the mat with a microphone in his hand yelling, "Pin me. Pin me," when he was the leader of the Job Squad. It was one of my favorite things. And so yeah, Brock coming out and just crushing everybody doesn't interest me. It just doesn't. Um, and so we'll see how long Brock's around for. I would imagine the Suplex City shirts are already available on the WWE shop, and we'll get Brock versus Cena, and then whatever else between now and when Cena's career is officially done in December. But with Brock, I mean, he is getting older, and you're not going to get. It's funny too because his matches weren't that long to begin with. I think with the style that Brock wrestles, it will hide his age better. It will hide his maybe issues with his cardio. That will be hidden by the fact that he just he does a bunch of throws and his finisher, and then that's it. Then he's the winner. So I don't know if Cena's going to end up beating him. I don't know from a storyline perspective what works better. I guess Cena winning works better from his storyline perspective, but it'll be interesting to see how it's booked. My expectation is that Brock won't be quite the superhuman that he was before. He does seem to, and I know Brock gets it. Like, I'm not saying that Brock is in business for himself or anything like that. It's just I don't find his matches entertaining. And wrestling is one thing that I know fans get very mad about with me because, yeah, my favorites are almost never the main eventers. My favorite wrestlers are almost never the main eventers, and a lot of the time I'll find the women's matches more entertaining than the men's. It's just that's how it is for me personally. But back 25 years ago, my favorite wrestler was Chris Jericho. Jericho was on the smaller side. He was a cruiserweight champion in WCW before going to WWE. And I still remember that gimmick where Jericho, after he'd lose a match, he'd freak out. He'd, rip up signs and throw chairs and just, scream and yell and just have an absolute hissy fit. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was great. I did. His feud with Dean Malenko was one of my all-time favorites. And so while everybody else might have been watching WCW for Goldberg and Kevin Nash and whatever Hogan's going to be doing next, I was like, what's going on with the cruiserweights? I would watch the cruiserweights and then I'd turn it off. I might see what Eddie Guerrero's doing, see what Benoit's doing, maybe Booker T. But as soon as the NWO would come out, I was like, all right, so change the channel. And that's me. I know that's different from a lot of other wrestling fans. But I honestly have always kind of rooted for the underdogs. And I go with what entertains me. And one of the things that entertains me is a wrestler who's not superhuman. A lot of the wrestlers that I'm not a big fan of are the ones that just go out and crush people. And I don't. The only one that would be an exception to that would be during Goldberg's streak. I did find that entertaining. I know the streak was BS. I know it was BS. And I think everybody knew back then. But the streak was still a fun idea. It is a predetermined result anyways. So the whole idea of the streak is to build somebody up. And it worked in that case. So that's just my personal opinion. I thought that SummerSlam last night was, honestly, if it wasn't for the fact that I was running a live stream, I don't know if I would have watched the whole thing. I think I would have been, I probably would have had it on in the background and been watching the F1 series instead. I've really enjoyed the F1 documentary series that I'm into season 2 on now. I probably would have been doing my song list, which currently I think I'm at like 730 something that I've got ranked now. So I'm over halfway now through the song list, but it's taken a while. But at any rate, I do think that this is probably going to be Brock's last go around too, because he's 48 and he's made his money. He's got his Hall of Fame spot in WWE, certainly if he wants it. And I don't think he has anything left to prove. My concern would be if they just put the title on him. That's my concern. I would hope that's not the case. And I think the reason being that Lesnar doesn't need a title. There are wrestlers who do not need a title. Rhea Ripley's in that situation too. Rhea doesn't need the belt. You can leave that on Naomi because it builds Naomi up a little bit. Rhea, it doesn't make a difference if she has the title. People are going to love her one way or the other. She is a very popular wrestler with or without the belt. So there are certain wrestlers that don't need a belt, and I would put Brock Lesnar in that category. And there have been times where WWE's put the belt on him, and I'm thinking, from a storyline perspective, I get it. But there's other guys who definitely that belt would get more time on TV because they're full-timers, and Brock doesn't need it. It's the same argument people had when Brock was the one that ended the streak for The Undertaker. That move, that probably should have gone to a younger wrestler that would have been a huge boost to their career. It wasn't really something Brock needed. So we'll see how things go. Raw, of course, is on tonight. I won't be doing a live stream of that. I might do a review. I'm not sure. I've got other hockey related stuff I'm doing videos on today. Nothing Ovechkin, but hockey related stuff we'll be doing videos on today. So at any rate, I do hope you enjoyed the live stream if you tuned in last night. I don't know if I'm going to do another live stream during a WWE pay-per-view. It goes way too long. The viewing numbers to me aren't really high enough for me to do that on a regular basis. And so last night, that's probably the only time I'm going to watch a WWE pay-per-view, because that amount of time that took as well, which was like 3.5 hours, I definitely could have done other things, maybe done another hockey video, maybe done another entertainment video for this channel, and instead I was kind of tied to that live stream. So probably not going to do that again. I might do it during, say, like a SmackDown, which is 2 hours. But yeah, a full pay-per-view, I don't think I'll do that again, unless this channel's numbers go up substantially. So I mean, like if I ever did get to the level of getting the 100,000 plaque, then absolutely, yeah, then I could probably do that. But for what yesterday was, I mean, it was a very casual, fun little live stream, but probably not again. Not on the wrestling topic anyways. But thanks to those who did tune in. Thanks for watching, of course. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and let me know your thoughts on where you see WWE going from here. It feels like the build for SummerSlam was better than the event, to me personally. And so it'll be interesting to see how they build things up from here and what kind of surprises they have in store. Brock was obviously the big surprise last night, but I'm sure they've got other things on the way. Let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe, as I already said, if you haven't done so. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. I will talk to you again soon.